Hi, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Flock Talk. I'm Robin Sullivan of the Leather Elves, and I am here with Keriellen Lohrman from Bird Gardens of Naples. We're at Bird Gardens of Naples, which is so exciting. But I've got to do the announcements that we always do. I want to thank you guys for listening, and you can follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook. You get notifications when we go live. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can follow us on Instagram. So there are a lot of different ways that you can find the live stream when you need to or when you want to. So, Carrie Ellen, how's it going?
Going good. It's Friday.
It's Friday. We had such a great day. The picture that you saw at the beginning was a couple of the ambassador birds that come to visit here at Bird Gardens of Naples when Carrie Ellen's doing a tour. And that was Romeo and Winnie, right?
Yes.
And I got to kind of hang out with them, and you can see by the expression on my face that it was a lot of fun. I was so proud of Winnie doing, the big wings and the eagle wings, and it was just a lot of fun. And I didn't even read behavior. It was just something that she decided to do while I was holding her, so it was kind of neat. So we did a lot of work today. We did some video. We took some pictures. You'll see some of the pictures we took today. But there's some cool stuff that's happening. You know that I've had Carrie Ellen on before, but your mission's changing, right?
Yes.
Here at the garden. I'm super over the top excited about what you're doing. So tell me what you guys are changing.
So we are becoming an avian resource center, not just parrots, avian resources, not just adoptions, not just sanctuary. We're doing all kinds of things. We're not only doing rehoming, we're helping with people getting cages. I had a lot of cages donated because, the recent hurricane. A lot of people in this area fled with their animals, but left their belongings behind in the house, obviously. So when they took their parrots and left, cages were left behind. The quantities of food were left behind. So we did have a lot of people donate food to us that we've been passing out.
Nice. So
Cages.
And the nice thing too is it's Bird Gardens of Naples. Hey, Joanna Roth, how are you? Nice to see you. It's Bird Gardens, not Parrot Gardens. Obviously, there are quite a few parrot. How many? Well,
235, give or take.
235, give or take. And that's not because they just go missing.
Oh yeah, one came in last night.
It's that, oh wait, we picked up one yesterday, or whatever. But for those of you who haven't been here, if you're in Florida, you absolutely need to come by and visit. But schedule a tour. But it's just incredible. I drove up to this property yesterday, and I didn't hear birds. It wasn't screaming, shrieking. None of that was happening. And so I was like, I don't think I'm at the right place. I'm like, no, wait, this is the right address. And yep, the gate code works. And so I was at the right place. I was just shocked. So everybody's like, oh, well, if you have a lot of birds, it's got to be screaming. It doesn't have to be. They're doing it right. Happy Friday, Terry. Terry's doing some work on her house, so hopefully that's all taken care of. But so it's not just it's not just parrot gardens. Tell us. So there's other really cool birds here. If anybody's on my Facebook, you saw one last night that I posted. It was a chachalaca. So
plain chachalaca.
Oh, ridiculously cute birds, and just they're very inquisitive. But they have those. What else do you guys have?
We have Casaroba swans. We have mute swans. We have Australian flats, Cape Barren geese, magpie geese, peacock, pheasant, peacocks, northern and southern African spurwings, Edwards pheasants, which are extinct in the wild.
So for those of you who don't know, Edwards pheasants, I mean, that's a big deal. It really is.
Yeah.
They are extinct in the wild. You guys are seeing some pictures there of some of the tour today. And the thing that struck me is really the awe, the look. I don't think I talked to a couple of people, I don't think you had any parrot owners group.
No, I didn't, which is a huge group we had
Yeah,
today.
and there was nobody there that was a parrot owner, and so I kinda was talking to people, and I there was one girl that I noticed she seemed to know what she was doing when she was, like, feeding the almonds, and she was being, very careful, and I said, "Do you own birds?" She said, "No, but my boss has a macaw." And so I understand. I'm like, "Okay." But the awe on people's faces and the kids especially, and I think that's part of the key to what we all have to do. We have to kind of try to keep that awe and that excitement and that how do we encourage people to support conservation?
Absolutely, and it's so important because the children are our future, and I so want them to be coming to a facility like this and getting interested in birds in general,
Yeah.
animals in general for that
Mhm.
matter. We do have sulcata tortoises, and I am licensed for reptiles and
Ah.
amphibians. Um,
But like with and the pheasants and people, people are used to seeing. But look at those little girls. Those little girls were awesome.
oh,
They ran out of almonds, and there was a lady walking around who had a big bag of
mhm.
almonds, and she offered me some. I said, "No, I'm all set." And then I said, "Wait a minute." So I went back over. I said, "I'm gonna take you up on that offer," and I gave those little girls some almonds. They just adored interacting with the birds. And it wasn't any I mean, the birds weren't, being forced into anything. They could choose not to interact, choose not to be there. They were getting reinforced for interacting by getting those almonds,
Food reinforcement.
just a little bit. But the kids were all excited, and I guarantee you they will remember this,
Oh, absolutely.
you know.
The Rhea is as large as the children, and she's
She's
really
ama
good with kids.
she's very cool. And the
The
kids know that they wanna know what are their names.
mhm.
So that's a big debate in facilities. Do you name the birds?
I name the birds that come in with names
Mhm.
are named. The birds that come in with no names, that is actually something Will and I have been debating. Should we name these birds that don't have names? Or going forward, do we want people to understand the difference between this is my pet
Right?
and this is what an exotic bird is.
And this has been a
Yeah.
debate for years. I mean, when I was doing more work with zoos and things like that, it was always, well, we don't name them because we don't want people to think of them as pets.
Mhm.
And to a point, I do agree. But I think too, there's a connection that gets made.
Sparking an
Yeah,
interest.
I remember Sasha. I remember so and so,
Mhm.
and they will remember those things. But Keriellen and I have been talking about not only do we want people to come and appreciate the birds and learn more about the birds. I mean, Keriellen does a great job talking about, what is the reality of having a companion parrot? What is, you know, it's people don't always understand that.
No, I had a gentleman, and I always ask when somebody wants to adopt, I always ask, "So why do you want to adopt a bird?" And there's a lot of different answers.
Mhm.
But the one gentleman who said to me is, "I don't have enough time for a cat or a dog."
Uh,
So that was
yeah.
a longer conversation, and he did decide at the end of the conversation that he had made a bad decision and wanted to adopt a bird because he just didn't know the work that went into it.
Yeah,
So education is a huge part of successful adoptions,
it is.
and we foster first
Okay.
because we want to make sure it's the right fit.
Yep. And I think that's only fair. And so those of you out there that have birds, just be glad that they're less work than a cat or a dog.
Hmm.
Yeah, not so
Yeah.
much. Not so much. But so what we've been talking about is we want people to understand. We want them to really so as an avian resource center, this is a place where people can learn more. Just I'm going to go and I'm going to get a bird and isn't this cool and
And does it talk?
yeah, does it talk? And some of the birds here do,
Yes.
but some of them don't. And I was trying to explain to the little girls that were in that picture that because I said those are African grays. And African grays are great mimics. They'll repeat things that you say. And I said, but not all of them do. I said, and not all of these birds will talk to you. it really depends, were they trained to do this? What was their, experience before? And we all know too that some birds come with not the best vocabularies.
So the bird that's in the other room that sits on my porch during the day, I had a new volunteer, and we don't integrate him with our flock because we don't want our flock to maybe pick up all of his language.
Yeah.
And the new volunteer said to me while we were cleaning cages down bottom, she said, "So, does that bird just sit on your porch and yell obscenities at people all day?" I said, "Pretty much."
Yeah, that's his job. Yeah, he's
And we're hoping with time
you can
he'll
sometimes
stop
change
forgetting
that
them.
language. You can make it sound like other
Other
things.
words.
Yes, that's always it. Because I've had people say that to me, before. Oh, my bird says, the F word. Okay, well, work with them and make a duck.
A duck. Well,
Make
there's some luck.
This is good. So don't despair if your bird has a potty mouth.
Mhm.
You can possibly fix that. Joanna just said here that Keriellen and Will do an amazing job. Their heart for all the birds. I look forward to this.
Thank you, Joanna.
Joanna's, yeah, we love Joanna. She wants a job here, by the way.
Well,
So-
the problem is there are no paid employees, including myself.
We'll just tell Joanna's husband that it's okay. She's on a sabbatical. Don't tell him I said that. Okay. She wants the job. So in all of this, we're getting, Carrie Ellen and Will and the volunteers here are getting people excited about birds. You're getting, you're doing amazing things with relinquishments. So a bird gets relinquished to you. And that's something else that we might need to talk about is that a relinquishment does not always mean the person is horrible.
No, absolutely not.
And, I think that's a stigma that sometimes gets attached to when people are relinquishing birds. And so how do you deal with that?
Well, one of the things I do is I let people know it's okay. If you can't take care of your animal anymore, there's nothing wrong with giving it up. In fact, you're doing it a favor. What if you can't afford medical? What if you can't afford food? And with some things like that, we step in. I can't tell you how many people over the years have called me and said, "I just can't afford to feed my bird. I lost my job." And is it a bag of food? Will that take care of this? Because you've had this bird for 30 years and all you need is a bag of food.
Yeah.
So there's solutions beyond relinquishment. But if relinquishment is the absolute, I try to compare it to, I'll tell people, so if somebody can't raise a child and they give it up for adoption, they've given somebody the most amazing gift that could ever be given.
It's very true.
I said, your animal is the same. If you can't take care of it, there is somebody else who will love it.
Yeah.
There is.
Well, Laurie says, better to give it up than have it suffer in some way.
Exactly.
And I think that's true. And I think, people out there, if anybody has, a situation and life changes. I mean, we all know that. And if a situation comes up and that bird be relinquished or you need some help, ask for it.
Yes.
There may not be a facility near you like Bird Gardens in Naples, but I guarantee you there are people in your circles that can help with it.
Yes.
And I think that's really important. But the other piece of this, so a lot of the birds that you mentioned, that not necessarily the parrots, but the parrots too, a lot of them are endangered. A lot of them are critically endangered. And how do we get people to talk about the help that's needed there?
Conservation.
There you go.
Conservation.
So wait, so Dorothy just signed on. I see it. But Dorothy, can you see these?
Yeah. What are we drinking out of?
It's our Saving the Blues cups. So we want to talk about conservation and how, in both our opinions, there you go. There's the
Sassy.
blue, that's sassy. And any organization that's dealing with birds in any way, shape, or form, whether it's a breeder, a pet store, a rehoming facility, any facility, a facility that just shows birds or has a bird show. See how I switched that around?
Mhm.
Did it make sense?
Yes,
Okay, good. Should be involved with conservation
absolutely.
because it's all well and good to say, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, blah, blah, blah. Put your money where your mouth is and talk about
And
conservation.
even if it's a small amount,
Yep.
I remember back in the day when I was donating $35 a month because that was all I could
Yep.
afford to a conservation program.
Yep.
And that's where it started, and every year I tried to do better with conservation than I did the year before.
And I mean, I'm sure that Dorothy will attest to that as well. The we've got our blue swag here.
Blue
Here, do
swag.
you want me to hold that up close?
You can hold that
Here
up.
we go. Look at that. Ooh, extreme close up.
Look at that. So one of the programs that we do donate to, that we support, is the blue-throated macaw program.
Nice.
Dorothy's online now.
I have to interrupt because so last time we did a live stream, I challenged my Friday night flock talkers
Mhm.
to put their money where their mouth was, get some toys for their birds, and see what we could do for Dorothy and the bird endowment and the blue throats. And I can tell you, you should all be very proud of yourselves because we were able to purchase two nest boxes
Mhm.
after that. We have one that the initials are FNFT for Friday Night Flock Talk. So all of you did that. And we also have, with the help of Diane Hyde, we were also able to get one in memory of Cody. Cody was Diane's bird. So you guys, thank you so much for helping with that. And it's, if we can do one little thing, and you all showed me in one night, 2 days actually, because we had the promotion on for 2 days. You were able to raise that kind of money so that we could support conservation that way. So, I mean, there are other, we love Dorothy and we love that program and the Blue Throats, but there are other conservation
And
organizations as
I
well.
tell everybody, pick something that fascinates you, pick something that needs your help,
Mhm.
and support it.
Yeah.
Even with volunteering, uh, our organization is 100% volunteer based.
Mhm.
When I do my tours and I'm speaking to the people, I tell them, I know most of you are on vacation and can't volunteer for me, but if you'd like to, you're welcome to.
Mhm.
But when you go home, pick one thing that's your passion and give that passion a few hours a week if you can.
Yeah.
Because volunteers are invaluable.
I think we forget too. So, this is one of those feel good moments and how you need to do self care. Volunteering is self care.
Yes, it is.
And people are like, oh no, it's because I'm helping someone. I'm going out and doing this. I'm helping someone. When it comes right down to it, it's self care.
Mhm.
You are feeding your passion. And, as bird owners, we're one of the few groups of people who have direct counterparts in the wild to our pets.
Yes.
We've got dogs, but
You can't.
you can't go out and see your dog running around in the wild. It
No.
doesn't, I mean, you shouldn't.
No.
Hopefully
So we
not,
have spay neuter program.
Right, exactly. This is the problem. But you've got to kind of look at that connection, and we're lucky enough to have that connection.
I will tell you, traveling to South America, one of the most exhilarating, beautiful things is to just see them flying in the wild.
Yeah. If you guys could see Keriellen's eyes right now, they're like glittering when she talks about this. This twinkle happens.
It's incredible. Um, I have friends who do free flight, which is sometimes controversial. I liken this to the most car accidents that are fatal are 16 to 25-year-olds, but yet we all still let our children get in a car and drive because it's part of freedom and quality of life. Birds are meant to fly. I like to see them fly. Now, we can't turn all our birds loose out here. They
No.
would not survive. That goes back to quality of life. I have birds pre-quarantine imports that were legally imported to the United States that were wild caught. And yes, they once lived in the wild, but have been cared for in a cage, not flying, that if they were to be turned loose, hawks.
Mhm. I really think and that's a
Predators.
lifestyle, it's,
Mm.
and we do have friends that free fly and do an amazing job, but it's a choice you make. It's a lifestyle that you decide whether you want to make that or
And
not.
that's a commitment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But, seeing birds in the wild, and
But yeah,
but I mean, the thing, like you say, they're not birds that weren't born in captivity,
no,
weren't, brought in as an import when it was legal or
nah,
not. But they weren't, that's not the situation. These are birds that were bred in captivity for the most part. There are still some wild caughts out there,
mhm.
but not as
But they're older.
they are older, and it still wouldn't be okay to put them out in
No,
flight. But like Keriellen said, when I was in Australia and New Zealand, it was, I mean, I would go to the park and see cockatoos like pigeons. I mean,
yeah.
it was crazy.
They-
So they are like pigeons. So all of our cockatoo lovers out there, don't be offended.
Pigeon
So,
settle your house.
but I remember, so I told Carrie Ellen the story. I was at a park and I said, I was sitting down on the ground, like taking pictures. And I have told you all before, none of those cockatoos were snuggling. There wasn't any
No, there are no
snuggling
snuggly
happening.
cockatoos in the
Not
wild.
happening out there. And that's when I tell you guys, don't break your cockatoos. There's no need to snuggle them. But so I was watching them, and I went up to this older couple and I said, "Are there any black cockatoos in the park?" And they said, "Oh yeah, up by the sandstone. But there's this duck that you need to see." And I was like, "Oh," and they were just, in their cute little Australian accents, they were all excited about a Muscovy duck. Yeah. They didn't tell me what kind of duck it was. They were just really excited about it. So I hiked over to the other side of the park and saw the duck. And then I did find some black cockatoos, so it was worth it. But,
That was right.
and the only reason I found the black cockatoos was because I'm walking along and I was kind of getting dejected, like, "There's no black not the okay, I shouldn't have been that way because I had just seen all these other really cool cockatoos. But I'm walking along and I'm kind of just, and all of a sudden, a pine cone, like a giant pine cone, just drops out of the tree in front of me, and I'm like,
Mm,
"Look up, red-tailed blacks."
nice.
I start, and then a whole flock of them takes off, and I start running. I'm running through knee-high grass in Australia, probably not my smartest moment.
Yeah.
But I'm running through, and I get to this stand of gum trees, and I'm watching them, and they're just flying, and this guy who is clearly a native says to me, "Oh, what are those?" I said, "What do you mean, what are those?" And you live here. Clearly, it was like, someone saying to you, "What's that?" Small passerine, and you have no idea because you're not a birder
It's a
or whatever.
chicken.
It's a chicken. but yeah, so seeing them fly and fly free is amazing. Um, but if we can support that conservation piece, if we, again, Carrie Ellen and I are not asking you all to change the way you keep your birds, to change the way you interact with your birds. Definitely not. But think about some conservation program that you want to support. And I know Dorothy will attest to this as well. It doesn't have to be $1 million. It doesn't have to be, your whole estate when something happens to you. It can be $5. Kids.
I actually had, when I first opened the bird gardens, one of my first donors was a lady who called me up and said, "I'm on a very fixed income and I see there's sponsorships for, like, I believe at the time it was like $10, $20, and $30."
Mhm.
She said, "I honestly can't afford any of them, but could I send you 5?" Well, yes.
Yeah. You're not going to say no at
And
that
here's
point.
the thing, she sent me $5 a month for 10 years.
Yeah. And, that's the kind of commitment to conservation that we want, that and you guys have, I know, I mean, our people who listen regularly that are on every week, you have some really amazing birds, and you've done some amazing things with them. Oh, another country heard from.
Hmm.
But think about, is there a wild counterpart to that bird, and is there a program that's supporting those wild counterparts? We were just at Parrot Festival down in Texas, and there's all kinds of programs that are working next year. The Bird for Parrot Festival is the Scarlet Macaw. And there are all kinds of programs that are happening with the Scarlet Macaw. Dr. Don Brightsmith has a program that escapes me right now, the name of his program. But we can put that up at some point, or figure that out and let you guys know. But you can definitely go out there, and so maybe it's not even birds. Maybe it's some other conservation program that you want to support. But really think about it. And Lori says, every little bit helps, and not just but time. Time helping with with the care of the habitat, with whatever that may be.
Sharing a fundraiser. If you can't donate to a fundraiser, share the fundraiser. You may not have the money to do it at that time. One of your friends may say, my friend loves this. Let me give some money in her name.
Right. I mean, like Mark and I would love to be buying nest box left and right, but that's not always in the budget. And so I reached out to you guys, and you guys were able to do that. You were able to help us make that happen. And I think that's twice helped make it happen twice. And it's just, those are the kind of little things. And conservation is one of those things that people get kind of, well, is it being done right? And I think that's, you got to consider that. So what would you suggest to people as far as, if you're looking for a program to support, what do you want to look at?
Look at their nonprofit, look at their tax return. Does all the money go to pay administrators? I mean, it's okay to pay people, even though I don't. It doesn't mean that's wrong,
right?
Because I'm retired. I can work here for free,
right?
I can't expect somebody to run this place for free going forward in the future, because they may not be retired,
right? And I think you've got to be careful. So we all know there's a scam for everything.
There is.
Unfortunately, that's the world we're living in. But really vet the project that you want to support.
Look at its success rate.
Yeah.
And that means everyone has to be abundantly, especially with breeding birds in the wild. You can have a bad year. Everyone knows that. I mean, you can't just gauge it on that. But look at what they're doing. Look at what they're putting into their conservation program.
Right.
Are they allocating new property? Are they allocating new space for the birds? Or whatever animal it is.
Right. And I think, for those of you that listen all the time, I had Aaron Smalley on, and Aaron does, he and his partner do Jenny of the Jungle, and they do ecotourism. And when he and I talked about it, we talked about doing it the right way, and doing it for the right reasons, the right way. And, I've got to tell you guys, there are people out there who do rehoming, who do what they call rescue, sanctuary, and it's not done for the birds, it's done for themselves. And you can tell the difference. The second you walk in a facility, you can tell whether it's for the birds or whether it's for the person's own glory, if you will. Ego. This is true. I mean, okay, we all know there's lots of egos in the bird world. Keriellen and I are not those people, but there are big egos, and you've got to sometimes look past it, and then look at what's really happening, and validate what they're telling you. When you look at statistics, we all know, right? So anybody that's taken a statistics class can tell you can manipulate those any way you want. You can make it look great. But if you really take a look at those statistics and make sure that they're doing the things that you would like to happen, and that things that you feel comfortable with, I think that's important too. You need to feel comfortable with the organizations and the conservation projects that you're supporting, because
their mission statements.
Yes. I mean, you guys are working on a new mission statement.
Yes.
Right?
So working on a new, to go with the Avian Resource Center.
I mean, and it's, doesn't mean that Keriellen and her volunteers and Will are going to change dramatically what they're doing.
We're expanding what we're doing.
Right. So it's, we're still going to have that great care, those birds that you got to see, but it's going to pivot a little bit. And a mission statement, any organization that does not have a mission statement, you might want to question,
Mhm.
and the transparency needs to be there too.
Yes.
I mean, that's, you need to be able to look at and say, okay, well, where is my $5 going?
Mhm.
And what's being done with that? Is it is it actually impacting the birds? Not creating some, glory for someone. Is it actually impacting the welfare? And we talked to a lot about animal welfare, and that's another one. Be careful when you're looking at an organization that's telling you that it's an animal welfare organization. Is it truly what they're doing?
Yes.
Um,
Because not everything is always in the best interest
Right.
of that particular animal.
Right.
And it's not black and white. It's
Mm-mm.
animal to animal.
Oh.
What's good for one is I have birds in sanctuary. They're mostly older birds that were either wild caught or used for breeding
Mhm.
that no longer produce. So what do you do with them? They're not pets.
Yeah.
So those are the sanctuary birds, and we do put them in facilities like the Everglades one, the Wonder Gardens in Bonita Springs.
Mhm.
Their parrots are from here because I need an outlet for older birds to have a place to live. I don't want a small zoo going out and purchasing baby birds just to put on display.
No. I mean,
We have plenty of older birds
there are
that can be
birds
on
that
display.
don't want to do that interaction piece. That just they make great exhibit
Happy
birds,
to
which
sit.
yeah. So you've got a whole bunch of people that are coming by. Frank
Oh.
is going to stop by this summer.
Great.
And Nick is asking. I don't know if you guys saw that. Nick is saying that please like and share the video on your feed. Facebook is slowing down our organic reach, and we could use the help. So, gotta love social media.
Mm.
And then Joanna's asking, is there something that Bird Gardens of Naples needs?
Volunteers.
Again, you're just trying to get out of working at the store, Joanna. I know you are. Is there anything though that
we go through tons of toys?
Okay.
We like the more natural toys for foraging.
Okay.
You've got those great little grass mat things the cockatoos love to shred.
We do.
We're going to show some of them later.
We'll
have stuff.
We'll show some stuff. The other thing I was thinking was, so it's dark out. I know you all think it's the land of sunshine here in Florida all the time.
It does get night.
But it does get dark. So, but what I'm going to do tomorrow, for those of you that are listening, I'm going to do a little bit of your tour, and I'll walk around and show you guys some of the birds, and then we can. I will post that on the Leather Elves. Or wait, I'll ask Nick to post that because I'm so good at that. So let's see. Laurie says, "Can you do a wish list on Amazon?"
Yes, I had one and I have to update it.
Okay, so Joanna wants the job of swearing at people. That
we actually don't allow that.
She doesn't allow that, Joanna. You can't do that.
I mean, only the birds can.
Oh well, I'm sorry.
If not, I'm not allowed to swear at anyone. No one else is.
Yeah, you gotta kind of follow the rules. But we can, definitely, if you guys are interested in purchasing toys for Bird Gardens, they are definitely on our Rockstar list.
Thank you.
So yeah, oh yeah. And so you can, on the Leather Elves page, you can go to the Rockstar promotion and purchase a box of toys, and we can send them right down here to Bird Garden. So Joanna says she's just teasing. She's
not. I know she's not. I know she wants to
She
stand
really
on my
wants that.
porch.
So yeah, we know.
We could probably, when there's not a big crowd, get her up on the porch.
You could stand on the porch if there was just a few people here. But she said Bird Fever is going to send a box of goodies.
Oh, thank you.
So anything, if you guys can do, I can tell you, because I'm here firsthand, this is an amazing facility. This is a great place if you want to choose a facility to support.
We do have birds that need sponsorship, permanent residents.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, we have like tiers, but I'm not picky about them. You know what?
Just send something.
We'll let you pick a bird and just say it's yours.
There you go.
It's the best kind of bird to own, is the one that you don't have to clean feed. It doesn't bite you. and it
quiet.
poops in someone else's yard.
Doesn't. Are you listed on? You said you're going to relist on Amazon, right?
Yes.
Laurie's asking, are you listed on Amazon?
I am listed on. There is a wish list up there right now.
Okay.
And the stuff on the wish list is all good, but some of it is no longer carried. So I have to really go in and revamp that, and I will.
All right, so that's happening.
Get DeWalt batteries.
Yeah, it's amazing. But there was the photo of a lady, and she had a little box of blueberries when she came. So that's one of the cool things they do here at Bird Gardens is if you come on a tour, that one right there, she gave at least one blueberry to every single bird. Every single one.
And I have my Monday volunteers. Fran comes with berries every Monday and goes around and gives every bird multiple berries.
But this woman was on a tour. I mean, and she was just,
almonds or berries.
But and I watched her, and it was so great. She just, I think she was by herself.
She was.
Had her little box of blueberries. She went from cage to cage, and she just kind of, and it wasn't like she wanted a response. She wasn't asking for, them to do tricks or anything. She shared those blueberries.
That's something people ask me, like, the birds. Well, this bird seems so sweet. Why is it not adoptable? Well, my easy explanation is they're very food motivated.
Yeah. So.
And if you show up at my gate with chocolates and a box of coffee at 6 a.m., I'll probably let you in.
Yeah,
if you don't have chocolates and coffee,
she turns into that cussing bird.
Cussing bird.
So Karen says, Karen has epic skills. Karen Anderson, from Avian Suite. She has epic skills. So she wants the job as well. So now it's either her or Joanna. So
they can both come. I won't stop either one of them from coming and working. They may not like the pay scale, but
well, if you work for blueberries, that lady,
I will pay them exactly what I make.
Nice. I think that's great. You guys should do it.
CEO pays.
And then Laurie wants to know, what name are you listed on Amazon?
Bird Gardens of Naples.
Bird Gardens. I will translate that for you because I speak Keriellen. Bird Gardens of Naples. She's a New England girl like me, so I can tease her. It's okay.
Yeah.
If you guys have any questions about conservation projects, if something comes up and you're like, oh, I don't know, run it by,
a few people that are in the industry.
Right. Find out that it's really okay. And make sure that, so Joanne works for Monday Blueberries, she says. So yeah, just find out, talk to a few people, see what they know about it. And don't be afraid to ask the organization.
Call the organization
and say, what do you get, and don't go at them with guns blazing, because I can tell you, conservation can be a thankless job. And so can running a facility like this. I'm sure there are nights when you're not so much loving the birds. Oh, she always loves them.
I do. Even when they bite me.
Yeah, well,
I don't care.
But
ask. Call and ask. If you have questions, ask. I'll be honest, just before the end of the year, December, I had a lady call me. And she said, I'm thinking of donating to your organization. But I pulled up your 990. And it says you spend $25,000 a month on meetings. And I went, no, that can't be right. Send me a copy of that so I can call my accountant, because that's wrong. I'm like, I don't spend $25,000
on anything.
On anything. Well, maybe food for the end, things like that. Right. But I mean, I was like, you sure it's not 250? And even I said, even that, I would never spend 250 on meetings. So I said, please send me the screenshot, because I definitely need to have that. That's a credibility, transparency thing. And she called me back and she was laughing. She said, I'm sorry. I thought I clicked on the Bird Gardens, but it was the botanical.
Oh, yeah. Well,
they have a
little different budget.
I said, well, their budget's a little different than mine.
There you go. So,
and she goes, oh, no, that's okay. Never mind. I don't have any questions. And she sent me a very nice donation. But had she not actually called me and asked me, she would have just thought I was spending $25,000 a month on meetings.
I can tell you the birds are really well cared for, but Keriellen's not living high on the hog down here. I gotta admit. I mean, it's beautiful, and
Did
I
tell the
love
lady
being
I have
here.
a 1990
She,
Dodge Ram. I mean,
yeah,
and a Prius.
it's not, they're not living the high life here at Bird Gardens. The birds are, but not
I
necessarily.
did have somebody from an animal rights organization call me and tell me they were going to come out and get me and treat me just like I treat my birds. I was like,
Sweet.
cool.
Yeah, that's the misunderstanding that happens. So a lot of people think that because we're in the bird industry, we make all kinds of money. I want to know how that happens. If any of you know that secret,
Please share it.
Please,
I won't have to ask
please.
for donations.
Frank, if you can find out through your underground contacts, because I know you got them, how they're making that money, I want to know. But it's really about what's good for the bird, and you can tell. I've been to like Karen's facility, the Avian Suites, and when you walk in the door, it's not she's not a non for profit, but when you walk
It doesn't
in the door,
matter.
right, you know right away. When you walk into Bird Fever, you know right away.
Mhm.
Whether it's a good day. I've been to stores that I walk in, I'm like,
I'm
no,
gonna go change my shoes.
no, yeah, I'm not. Leather elves are not going to be part of this. I have reached out to conservation projects and been sadly, nope, that's not going to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, Terry says hi. So Terry's rolling in the dough.
Oh,
Yeah, Terry, you're making those big bucks. It's good to know. Terry breeds the most beautiful birds. She's got some amazing birds, and she socializes them, and she does a good job, and you can tell. But so, Joanna wants to know how you live high on the hog if you truly care for your animals. Yeah, it's true. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But we really, we've joked a lot tonight, and I love that. So I don't. And then there's that.
And then there's that.
But that I usually am by myself, and we're a little more. This is such a nice conversation.
It's nice. I don't have to count to 5 on my fingers.
So for those, Mark suggested you eat the hog.
Yeah.
If you're living high on the hog, eat the hog.
That's how you live.
That would be the carnivore husband who's back in Maine with all the snow.
I'll send you home with a smoker.
Yeah, smoker for the hog. We want the hog too. But anyway,
sit in the backyard.
We just we really this has been, I love the conversation, having the conversation face to face. And last time Keriellen, well, thank you, Jeff. Jeff says this is awesome. Lots of useful information that people never would have known. So, but last time Keriellen was on, we had a delay with the internet, and I don't know if you guys noticed it. Keriellen, she had 5-second delay, and she's doing one of these between every time she's on. It was so. I was like, I'm sitting there trying not to figure it. But it's definitely something that I know that Carrie Ellen's passionate about. And when you make those calls to a conservation organization, don't be like, so what do you do? So how do you do it? So what do you do this? Do you do that? Because you've got to remember, you're dealing with a conservation organization. They are not pet birds. No. This is not.
Yeah, you're feeding them bowls of fruit and nuts every day.
Yeah,
they need to forage for their food.
You don't want to ask those kind of questions. So you have to kind of step outside of that mindset of the companion bird owner. We're not talking about Fluffy who lives in your house, who you can scritch on the head, and that's not what these guys are doing when they're doing conservation. They're doing a service for birds in the wild. They're taking care of these animals out there. They're creating habitats. They're climbing trees to put nest boxes up. It's a different world. So when you ask your questions of a conservation organization, make sure that that's the mindset you're thinking in. Not do you give them an almond every day? Do they get that? No.
Are there toys hung in the trees?
Yes, that's a big one. You never need to send toys. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I do work with Hafet,
and he
has birds that are in a facility prior to release, and all of that. So,
and you usually they're toys that are based on foraging,
right?
Food foraging.
And so sometimes those skills do need to be taught to birds that are captive bred and then for release. But so there are some conservation programs that may need some toys. But the only one that I've ever worked with has been the Puerto Rican Amazon.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but we do work with them. So you just have to really think in a different mindset, but think about the majesty of birds. You know, it's, you all know that I've worked with raptors, I've worked with parrots, and majestic is the word that comes to mind.
Mhm.
And you need to think
Regal.
about regal. Yep. You need to think about what they are doing if they're not living in your home, if they're not in a facility. What do you want for those birds? You know, well, so perfect example. Birds in the wild. We've got the Steller sea eagle
I know.
in Maine right now.
I wish I could see it.
I know. Well, it hadn't been seen for a couple days before I left, but maybe it came with me, followed me.
Yeah. Check the
Right,
back
that's
of your
it.
truck.
Yeah, I worked that magic.
You're going to jail.
I might be. Yeah, Fish and Wildlife is knocking at the door right now. But no, but seriously, I mean, there were people online that were saying they should catch the Steller and bring it back to where it belongs.
No, it's not where
It's not how this works.
because
You know, it's a very cold weather bird. It's very happy in Maine right now. Mark will attest to that, I'm sure. But you know, it's about what are they on a different level? What are
expansion of habitat, maybe.
it's possible, you know,
know.
but nobody. We're not catching those birds and giving them a better life by putting them in captivity. That's not how this works. You know, and there's breeding for conservation. I know a lot of people get very upset with breeders. You know, there's a segment of the
Yeah.
bird community that's not okay, and they're like, "Oh, breeding conservation. That doesn't."
Well, look at the
work.
Spix macaw. It's the only animal to ever be released back into the wild from extinction in
Right.
the wild.
And you know, and with a high degree of success.
Yes.
Have there been some mishaps? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But when you think, you know, people, oh, birds are so much happier in captivity. Not necessarily. Is life longer in captivity?
Is it easier in captivity?
Possibly.
Yeah, so is life in prison.
This is true. Your 3 squares are brought to you every day, but maybe not brought to you. You have to pick them up on the line. Oh, but no. So, but you know, it's a vastly different world. Life is shorter, probably in the wild. The life expectancy of a parrot in the wild is not as long,
and it's much more difficult.
Much more difficult. You know, and then there's the groups that are like, they should all be flying free out in nature. And where?
Yeah.
You know,
we need to remember, along with conservation, we need to do conservation for land, because
that's right.
If we don't provide the space for them to live, even if we save them, where are they going to live?
Well, that's the other piece of it too. You know, we talk about, we're working with this species and we're doing this and we're doing. And when I was talking to Bennett Hennessy a couple weeks ago, we were talking about what else lives on the Laney Rickman Reserve.
Yes.
What else is there? You don't just affect, you know, and you can feel really good about yourself. You're a scarlet macaw. You have a scarlet macaw living in your home, and you know you're supporting scarlet macaw conservation. Right? You're so proud of yourself because you did that. But be even prouder because you're supporting other animals as well.
Yes.
You know, and it's the whole ecosystem. Yeah, there's that scarlet macaw. And you know, it's really about how do I want to leave an impact. I think that's part of it. You know, I want to make an impact. And if I can do that by helping someone who's on the ground, that's what I'm going to do. So,
and my grandson, my oldest grandson, he's not 9. So took him to Homosassa Springs State Park.
Yeah.
Now he knows what I have. He's in the Boy Scouts. He's done some badges here. We had a whole troop of Boy Scouts here for a weekend doing badges. And he understands what endangered species are. He understands what I do. But when I brought him to Homosassa Springs, he saw the manatees and several other animals. And we talked about, you know, it has the map where they're from and whether they're endangered, critically endangered, And like we're walking down the boardwalk, and I look over and he was crying. I said, "Why are you crying?" He said, "We've got all these endangered animals, and what are we doing to save them?"
And that's the
And
thing.
he was truly heartbroken about it. And I said to him, "Well, parks like this who rehabilitate animals, what I'm doing and what other people I support are doing is what we're doing to save them.
Yeah.
And when you grow up, that's why you have to clean bird cages with me, because you have to learn how to do it."
Wow, but it's true, and
But it follows through.
yeah, it does. My feeling is, so for those of you that have kids or grandchildren, get them involved. I used to work with the Nature Conservancy,
Mhm.
and we did an event called Bowl the Planet, and we'd have the kids do a bowl-a-thon, and it was with Cub Scouts.
Mhm.
And I remember one of the little boys saying to me, "Well, can we go camping on that acre of rainforest that we just bought?" I said, yeah, that's not how that works, but it's an idea. We could do some ecotourism at some point, and you could go, but it's really about, if you do a group, you get a group of kids. So a lot of you do outreach. I know Long Island Parrot Society does outreach. There are a lot of organizations that you guys belong to, bird clubs, things like that, that do outreach.
Mhm.
If you get one child, just one, or even an adult, but one child to be a steward for the environment, you win. You've done your job for that day. It's getting them involved, and then maybe it's I went to bird gardens in Naples and I saw this really cool bird when I was 5, and now I want to be
A veterinarian.
Yeah.
I want to be an animal trainer. I want to be a
Yep. And so Dorothy says, Chris Armstrong says, bless his heart, your grandson. When Lainey
Thank
partnered
you.
with Armenia to start the bird endowment, there were only 100 to 150 blue-throated macaws in the wild, and they were declining. And now, what are we looking at? We're looking at
450, 500.
25% of the population is from the work
program.
that they're doing. So Joanna Roth said her kids know how to clean at the shop. They know the care and attention that it
Mhm.
takes, and those are the kind of things you want to instill in the youth. I mean, let's face it, we're all getting a little bit older, and we need that next generation to understand why it's so important, to understand why conservation needs to be a part of our everyday lives. I'm sure a lot of your kids recycle and do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do they know why? Explain to them why. I'm not doing this just because, well, in some places you get your nickel back when you return your can.
Or it's a law, you don't get fined.
Right, you don't get fined for not splitting up your trash.
They don't dump your trash on the front lawn.
But let them know why. Why do you do that? Why do you not, chop down all the habitat? Why do you not cut down all the trees? What's the purpose? And I think that's something that we want to make sure, that they're understanding.
Not just we're doing this, but why we're doing it.
Exactly. And Dorothy says we're all connected in this life, and that's such good advice. It really is. You talk about the impact that you can make, and you talked about that lady and her $5. It still made an impact. It's still the littlest thing, and just you recycle one can. It's one less can that's going to end up in a landfill somewhere. And I think I don't want you guys to think that we're on some soapbox tonight about concert, but it's so easy to do. It's so easy to make that little bit of difference, so I don't know. If you guys have any questions, comments, things like that, if you want to support Bird Gardens in Naples, I'm sure Keriellen would be happy to accept
all the support in any way, shape, or form I can get it.
And come in. So all of you that are in cold places, Laurie, McFarland,
think about your winter vacations to somewhere warm and sunny.
Right here. This is the place to be. But Mark, it's not warm here.
No, it's miserable. It's been raining all week.
He's probably not listening anymore. He's probably off, shoveling snow somewhere. But I see, my daughter-in-law said to me the other day, why do we get a buttload of snow every time you go to Florida or so? And I said, I don't know. She goes, I'm going to plan my vacation from now on when you're going away. So, it happens. But I want to thank you guys again. I want to thank you, Keriellen, for letting me be here at Bird Gardens in Naples.
I want to thank you for coming.
Oh, it's so much.
We have been having fun.
So Laurie only got 11 inches in the last 3 days.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Why does Carrie not live in Maine anymore?
Carrie doesn't let, she's down here and she's all about how nice and warm it is, but she's a Maine girl. Come on.
I just like the food.
There you go. Good food. Good food. So
Good food.
anyway, thank you guys. On
you.
Sunday, we will
Sunday.
be at this event at Ziggy's Haven. For those of you that are here in Florida, I'm speaking Melanie Allen from Hagen Agricultural Research Institute, and Dr. Rainwater is going to be there. Dr. Ritchie is not able to attend in person, so Dr. Rainwater is going to be there. And then they're going to have two of their volunteers, Grace and Aislinn, are going to talk about Training 101. It's a great event. We're going to be there on Sunday, and it's in Inverness, Florida, from 11 to 4, I believe. I can't read that far away. I wish I could, but and I will be there talking about enrichment. So if you're in Florida, stop by and say hi. I don't get to see all my Florida people that often, so if you're down here, let me know. Thank you. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome, Bev. Anytime. It's always fun to do this. So thank you guys for listening to Flock Talk. Again, you know how you can subscribe. Thank you, Keriellen. Please support Bird Gardens. It's a wonderful, wonderful organization. Bird Gardens of Naples. It's a wonderful organization. And I will, see, I can't tell you where I'm going to be next Friday. I don't know. I might be back here. I might be back here. But just follow us. It's not always easy to do a show every single week. If you guys have topics or guests that you would like to see, please let me know. I would love to have them on, and it's always fun to have different discussions about different topics. And you guys see that, Laurie's thanking Nick as usual. Nick, makes us look good. So
yes, he does.
Nick's a magician. He really is. Not so much,
Hi,
there's PM. So she sent a few friends to come and see Bird Gardens in Naples today. Awesome.
Oh, okay, great.
We had a great group today.
It was huge.
Oh, and there were some people from New England that we were talking to, and so that was fun. But yeah, so stop by if you're in Florida. Chris, I know you're in Florida, so
yeah, Chris has said he's going to come down and see me.
We need to see Chris. Chris, come by Inverness if you're up that way on Sunday. Come to Ziggy's Haven, another organization that is doing their best to rehome birds and keep things moving. So we will see anybody that stops by there. We'll see you on Sunday. If not, I will see you again. Thank you, and thank you for listening to Flock Talk. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.